Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome back to UNCUT BTS. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kolby, and this is our podcast where we get behind the scenes of our businesses, our podcasts, and our lives.
hmm
Sorry, I'm a little bit like out of sorts today. Like I'm like my eyes are puffy if you're watching this on video. Like I just spent the last hour, I think, like binge watching some guy on Instagram. I don't know if you follow this guy. I am trying to pull it up right now. Like I can't even remember his name, but he basically goes around and he like pretends to be like a homeless guy or like somebody that needs money or like food, and then
Uh-huh.
and then if somebody shows kindness to him, then he'll give them like thousands of dollars. And it's
Uh-huh.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
so. Have you ever seen this?
I did. I have. Yeah, it's like kind of
What's
like
his name?
there's a bunch of people that do it, but I know there's like one guy that originally does it. Like he did it through
Yeah.
like a drive-through and stuff like that too.
Yeah, his like thing is kindness is cool. And I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like went down and watched so many of his videos where it's just like, like usually it's like people who are already like kind of struggling and like barely making ends meet, and then they're like give him their last dollar, and then
Yeah.
he'll be like, since you gave me that, like I want to send you back home to your family. I started watching it with the girls this morning before school, and I just continued watching it. And I'm like now like, oh, I'm having a rough time now.
It's definitely, with everything going on and
Mhm.
whatnot in the world, it is nice to see that there are nice people still, good people in the world and like good things happening. Cause yeah, like our social media feeds like are
Yeah,
filled with like negativity and like
yeah,
crazy things happening. So when you do like land on like those good videos, like and
yeah.
it kind of just shows like, oh, that's something that you're missing and you're watching it and it makes you feel good.
Yeah, I
Even though
think
you're crying, it makes you feel
I'm
good in a different
crying.
a good cry, a good cry.
Oh my gosh. I wanna do
Yeah. And
that. How cool would that be?
I think we talked about it in Tana's episode, but it's like you're not. I mean, it's hard to change the whole world, right? But like
Yeah,
you're making someone's day, and then even just like sharing that story, and like it might affect others like you, and now it's
yeah,
inspiring you to do something, and like it's like okay, now you're like slowly creating something and
yeah.
getting the ball rolling.
I wanna figure out how to do that. I wanna do
You can
more
you
of
can buy
that.
me lunch today. Just kidding.
Andrew, you do not need it. You just came back from a epic concert and trip. Tell me about that.
uh, yeah. So we were last year we kind of just like looking at flights and whatnot. Megan and I like to do this, or Megan likes to do it, and she's like, "Hey, trip to San Diego is $200 round trip. Let's go." And we're like, "Okay, let's book it. We don't have any plans. Megan's brother lives out there. Let's just go and eat, whatever, have fun." The whole family ended up going, which was nice.
Aw.
Emery's second trip,
Mhm.
it was a little bit harder, but not as bad as like other babies on the plane. Like she's just more aware now. Trip to
Yeah,
Japan, fell asleep, ate, kind of just
yeah,
like hung out, did her own thing. But now it's like, okay, I can see more things. I want to explore more things. What is
yeah.
this? What's that? So that was interesting and fun. And flew home, dropped Emery off at home. Megan's mom watched her, and then Megan and I took our first trip without Emery. It was, it was tough.
It
It
was
was
tough.
tougher
You missed
for
her.
yeah, we did. It was tougher for Megan for sure. I mean, like
Yeah.
the mother daughter relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megan cried a few times even before
She
we got on the
did.
plane.
Oh.
Yeah, and like that made me sad. It was like, how can I help? But then once we started doing things, like that helped a little bit more, and it was a fun trip. We went up to
Yeah.
see Elenium. Uh, it was
That
cool.
was
It was really
crazy.
nice. Good group of people. Yeah, we got like the suite again, and it was a good
Nice.
experience. It was a good experience.
Did you get
And
to
then
see Nye?
yeah, I mean, I saw him working. He was like working busy.
Yeah.
Like I was texting him all day. I was like, dude, I was dead and tired from like jumping and singing and all this stuff. And you
Yeah.
see him carrying like the heavy red rig, and I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, how do you do it? Like, how are you like still alive right now after carrying that camera for like freaking 5 hours? He's
Oh
like, I'm
my
dead right now.
gosh. Wow. I know. It's always so crazy, his videos. I'm like, there's so much going on.
Avril Lavigne came out on our night Friday, and we're
Saw
like, oh,
that.
that was crazy. That was cool.
Was that a
And
surprise?
then yeah, so all of the guests were surprised. So it was kind
Mhm.
of cool. It was a good weekend to get away. But obviously, Friday night we went to the show. Saturday we were kind of doing our own thing. They were like, "Oh, we miss Emery so much. Let's change our flight. Let's fly home Sunday morning." So we canceled our Sunday plans. Flew home like early morning, 7 a.m. Got back at like 1 p.m. Hawaii time,
Mhm.
which was nice because we were able to make Alaya's birthday,
Yeah.
first birthday. We thought we were gonna miss it, so it was nice to like go home, see Emery, hang out with her, and then bring her to her first
First
birthday
birthday
party. Like
party?
her, yeah. It was great. It was cool to see everyone and like hang out with everyone.
Everybody
And
was like fighting for her. We want to hold her.
yeah,
I'm like, I literally just got her.
I know. I was like, I grabbed it from Megan, and then Kobe comes up and is like, I want to hold her. I was like,
My
okay, well,
turn.
I just got her. So yeah,
Oh, it's so fun. Um, Speaking of concerts, tell me what your like most favorite concert ever has been.
most favorite concert. Wow. I mean, we've been to quite a few. I mean, I know people are gonna hate me for saying this, or like
Taylor
I'm
Swift.
gonna feel weird saying this, but Taylor Swift was a really good experience.
Well, you're
Taylor
also in the suite,
Yeah,
and
but I
it's
mean, just
Taylor
like she's a
Swift.
good performer, and then like I think like seeing the group that we were with, they were all Swifties.
Yeah.
So Megan and her friends and whatnot, they were all like, it was crazy, and even like some of the guys, like they were super into it. I'm like, it was such a good time. After that trip, everyone's like, "Oh, are you a Swiftie now?" I'm like, "Ah, maybe I don't know." She has
I
good
became a
music.
Swiftie after watching her tour on the movie. Like I didn't even go to
Yeah,
her
yeah.
actual concert, but we did the movie experience, and I'm like,
Uh
okay,
huh.
I get it, I get it.
I mean, we were on the plane coming home, and like Megan's like, "Hey, Taylor Swift is like having her wrapping up her international tour in December. We should go." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay, I mean, I
where are we
guess I don't
going?
know." Yeah,
Booking
but
my
she's
plane
having one in
tickets
like
now.
Vancouver. I think it's Vancouver.
Oh, okay. See, that's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
far. That's
yeah,
actually like a direct flight from here.
yeah.
Let's
She's
do it.
having one in like Tokyo next week at Tokyo Dome.
Really?
Yeah,
Right after the
so
Super Bowl.
before.
Oh,
So
before.
that's what everybody's talking about right now. It's like it's crazy because like everybody's like calculating everything. Like, okay, Taylor Swift show ends at this time, 11 p.m., which is like the night before. She takes a 13-hour direct flight to Vegas. She'll make it for the game. It's kind of crazy. I
What?
mean, like all these Swifties are like calculating the time and whatnot. She's definitely very
Wow.
trendy right now, and
Yeah,
it's
she's
a Taylor Swift
everywhere.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. Are you going to be watching the Super Bowl
Oh, yep, yeah. I love
and
football,
cheering
so
for the Niners?
I don't know. I mean, none of my team's not in it, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know who I want yet. I mean, Chiefs are always fun to watch. 49ers, they have a good story and they have a
Hmm.
big fan base here in Hawaii.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be in Reno for Super Bowl. So
Oh,
actually,
what?
we're going to Tahoe on Thursday. So
Oh, nice.
excited! There's so much snow. So yeah,
Ah,
there's like 5 families. There's like 21 of us going all
see,
together.
that's fun.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna be there. We're gonna snowboard first, and then we're gonna drive to Reno, watch it there. Rented out like a game room for the kids. So
Yo,
I'm
that's
super excited.
sick.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
I get adopted?
Come with us, definitely. As long as you bring Emery,
Oh yeah.
you're invited.
I've been I've been dying to snowboard. Everyone's snowboarding right now, and
I
like
know you haven't gone all
my
season.
bag my bag's just collecting dust. Yeah, this is the first season
Oh,
I missed in a long time.
hmm. Well, you went like 3 times last year.
Yeah, well, season's not done.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of snow, so it's probably gonna last for
I
a
might just
while.
do like a surprise trip.
Yeah, why not?
Wait, so you're gonna watch in Reno? That's awesome.
Yeah, I've never been to Reno before. Have
Ah,
you?
no.
It's like a little Las Vegas, like a
Yeah.
little mini.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. I've never.
I think the fact that like traveling with families is
Hmm.
a big one too. It's like the different stage of traveling, right? We're Megan and I were kind of just sitting on the side yesterday at the party, and I was like, this is what like, we grew up with, like kind of just like the adults hanging out.
Hmm.
There's a pool area for the kids, and like now it's like everybody's starting to have families, and like this is
Hmm.
like the next part of our lives.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
like, yeah, we were talking about like family trips because it's like who who do we know with kids that are down to travel where we can just get like a few cabins nearby, okay, yeah,
Me,
and
and
let's
I
just all
will
hang
watch
out, yeah,
her. I will
yeah, yeah,
babysit. You guys
yeah.
go snowboard, and I'll just watch her.
I think the big thing is like not changing up your life so much. I
Yeah.
think I think the big
Yep.
stigmatism, like when I was like posting that we were traveling with Emery and stuff, everyone's like, oh,
Hmm.
you're traveling with her already, you're putting on her plane, blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I mean, one, it's free
Yeah.
before she's two,
Yep.
and it's like we want her to have all these great experiences. Like, yeah, she's probably not going to remember it. I mean, she's
Hmm.
not going to remember any of it, but I
Yep.
think for us it's our memories. And then
Hmm.
also I think just like her getting used to the flying and
Hmm.
like the changes and whatnot, so that's what we're most excited about.
Yeah, I never had that kind of childhood growing up. Like we
Yeah,
hardly
exactly.
traveled as when I was a kid. Um, but yesterday when we were flying over for Elias party, Casey, we're on the plane. Casey was like, "Huh, like." it's been a while since we flew anywhere. I was like, it's literally been a month. Like she's like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a while.
I know. I saw
They're
that
just so
photo of her on the in the lounge. I was like, whoa.
I know. She's just like lounge life is just normal thing for her
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
getting on a plane just for 3 hours, like we're there literally there for 3 hours, and
yeah.
then flew right back. But it's just they're normal. Like and I'm like,
Uh
look at
huh.
these kids. They're just so blessed to be able to have that life, that
Yeah.
childhood.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Um, all right. So a few updates. We're on a little bit of a break from recording our regular episodes. So we're going to have a break this week and a break next week, but we're recording a bunch next week, Friday. We're really excited. Andrew's coming
We're
back to the Big
traveling again.
Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be recording at Tuesdays again. And yeah, stoked. I love featuring our Big Island people.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a great time. It's always nice when I get to travel out and
Mhm.
again, just talk with people, and creating that safe space somewhere else, right? And
Yep.
somewhere close to home for you and like the
Yeah.
guests out there. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. We're wanting to travel to Maui and to the other islands this year too. So if you guys have any, people that we need to talk to, please let us know. Shoot us a message.
So yeah, we're excited for that. Stay tuned for that. I guess I mean we don't have like a catch up guest today,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we wanted to use this time to kind of just talk to each other. And
Mm-hmm.
how was January for you? You know, as like a
I
business owner.
know.
I mean, you won industry icon award, a wedding industry, little things like that, right? Like how
Little
was
things
January?
like
It's
that.
February now, which is crazy.
Yep.
So what are you most
Yeah.
excited for? What was January like?
January was so good. It feels like January was like 3 months in one.
Yeah.
It felt so long. I mean, it's February and that's great and we're moving along, but I feel like January was a little bit of a mixed bag for me anyway. Like trying to get
Hmm.
out of that holiday fog and trying to like get back into the routine of things. I know we talked about it with Kamaka. We're like, oh, it's like feels like slow or something. If it doesn't feel like that pace that we're normally used to, which I was trying to embrace, I was like, all right, let's like work out more. Let's kind of reach out to different kinds of people and like just do different things.
Hmm.
So I think and yes, like winning industry icon was pretty unexpected and a big honor though. And you guys won best photo and video. So it was a good night for all of us.
Yeah. No, I mean it was definitely, yeah. It was crazy. It was cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel you on January. It I think you listen to all these like business podcasts and
Hmm.
motivational videos, and it's like, why are you waiting when you can do it now? And it's like for me in January, I was like, I don't know, like I think I'm just gonna take January off, like
Yeah.
mentally, physically, kind of just like, I mean, obviously still working, but figuring out how to like slowly get back into it
Yeah.
versus rushing back into it. And now it's like, I think it was like February 1st, we were like, oh, I can't say Happy New Year anymore. It's not January, unless
Yeah.
unless you're part of the Lunar New Year
Chinese New
calendar.
Year. Yep.
But it's like, yeah, now it's like a mind shift. It's like, okay, now it's February. How do we get back into it? I got back from my trip yesterday. How do I get back into the office today? Got in early, did all my work, and I'm scheduling. We have like some big shoots this month. January was
Hmm.
kind of slow, good to rebuild. But
Yeah.
like now we have some big shoots coming up, trying to figure all that out. And it's kind of just like all coming back. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
This year is going to be awesome. I don't even know really what it's going to
Yeah,
turn out to be,
exactly.
but I just really am embracing we'll see what happens. I had a meeting with my team, with the Arya team. Like we have like these like start of the year powwows.
Hmm.
And I'm like, should we just switch it up completely? Like, should we just do something completely new? Let's talk about it. So
Nice.
that's the
Yeah, no,
energy of this year.
yeah, it's crazy because right when you said this year's gonna be great, we say that every year, and it's
Mhm.
so cool to just like you go at the end of the year, it's like, oh, I don't know how next year's gonna beat this year, but it's
Yeah.
like it always does, and it's like, and I
Hmm.
think that's life, just continuing to grow, continuing to elevate, and like just like not being stagnant. I think is a huge one.
Yep. Who is a guest we should have on this year? I know we're still hoping for Jason Momoa, and if Jason wants to come on, there is an open invitation for you to come on whenever you want to. But who are some guests that you're wanting to have on this year?
That's a good question. Um, I there was like, remember I sent you that like that video of like that guy that just sat down and like had a sign that said like sit down if
Mhm.
you're having a bad day. I kind
Yeah.
of want to do that. Like I think we've always been like telling stories of people that like don't really get like have the limelight,
Mhm.
um, or like like that fame or like that recognition sometimes, but they're doing a lot for the community or in
Yeah.
their world, right? So it's
Yeah.
like even just like talking story. And I remember back in the day, Steve Hartman was like when we were doing broadcast journalism, he used to do this thing where he would throw like a dart on a map
Uh-huh.
and like go to that spot, look through the phone book, and then like find someone and then like tell their story, do like a
Oh, I
broadcast
love
journalism package.
that. Yep.
And his whole thing was everybody has a story. So
That's
yeah, he would throw
exactly
a
what
dart.
Augie T said. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like how do we do that? I think the BTS part of like finding guests and stuff, it's so difficult, it's so hard.
Mhm.
People are scared to be vulnerable,
Mhm.
and especially when you have more of a following and stuff like that,
Mhm.
especially nowadays. So it's like kind of harder to find the guests and whatnot. But I think if we just kind of like let it or people organically, I don't know,
Dude,
I
I
don't have
love
one
that.
specific person.
Yeah.
Kalia Moniz, we've been trying to get her. I really want to talk story with her.
Kalia, yes. She's a sweetie pie. I got to shoot her
Yeah,
wedding. You were there too. Yeah. So
yeah,
we're
we have so many mutual friends. But
yeah.
again, like someone surface level, but like it'd be
Yeah.
nice to kind of just sit down, talk story, get to know her.
Yeah.
um
I love that story of just like throwing a dart though. Like I wonder if we should do that for Hawaii. We just like throw a dart and wherever it
in an
lands,
area.
it's gonna land on Mauna Kea.
Someone's gonna miss.
I love that idea. Everybody has a story, and honestly, over the last what almost 2 years that we've been doing this, which is crazy, right? Doesn't feel
Uh-huh.
like
And it's
2 years.
almost like even when we do talk to the people that you think their story,
Yeah,
it's not the story we end up talking about.
yeah, totally.
And
Yeah,
it's like, wow, like those are the best organically formed conversations. And I really enjoy those. So yeah, I've been just trying to figure out, even if we could just set up, like I said, like a sign, like, hey, sit down if you want to talk story. We'll talk story for 30 minutes,
that
see
would
what
be
we get.
so
That'd be
cool.
crazy. Yeah, in some random area, I don't know.
Downtown Hilo, we're coming for you.
Yeah, anywhere. I think people would do it.
I love that idea. No, and I
So
do want to highlight because there are some people, that we've interviewed that don't have quite a big following, like social media kind of following. But as
mhm.
far as their community impact, those have been the one that I personally got the most from. So I want to do more of that, like finding those
Yep.
like, community leaders truly like making a difference in their communities. Okay, so anything else we need to talk about before we go?
Mm,
Okay, we ask this of our guests a lot of the time is what is one thing that people might not know about you that you would want them to know? So,
ooh.
anything?
Um, I'm a softie.
I think everybody knows that about you.
Okay. I was like, I get very emotional about everything. I get emotionally connected, and
Yeah.
I don't know. What's something? See, everybody knows that. I don't know. I on the outside, like I I'm very confident and intentional about the things that I'm doing. But I do have like those moments of like self doubt and imposter syndrome, and it kind of just like pushes me into like this weird phase where I feel like unmotivated and like, what
Mm,
am I doing? And I get that into those phases often. So it's like, how do I get out of that? I've been getting better, with like journaling and like
hmm.
talking to people and whatnot. But it's like, I think that's something that like a lot of people deal with, that they don't talk about often.
Hmm.
But yeah, for me, I mean, on the outside, like, social media, everything, everybody knows, social media is just like one side of things. But like, I
Yep.
mean, everybody struggles with a bunch of different things. And I think for me, it's like sometimes I get into like these weird phases where I'm not
Hmm.
motivated to do anything. And it's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
but people are always like, oh, you're so driven, you do all these things. I was like, nah, like sometimes I'm like, I wouldn't say lazy, maybe lazy, but like just like unmotivated. And I think there's a lot of factors to that. So that's something I think a lot of people don't know. um
Hmm.
but yeah, something
Yeah.
we can talk about in another episode.
No, that's good. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think a lot of people see you, even when they talk to me about you, they're like, how does he do all that? Like, how does he
Yeah.
have time to do all those things? And it's like you have a lot of buckets that
Yep.
you that all need attention. And so, and now that you're a dad, which is the biggest bucket of all, it's like, man, and you just seem to do it with such ease. And so I think a lot of people are, one, like in awe of you. I think people are like inspired by you, but I think people also wonder, like, how does he do all that, like
Mm-hmm.
how is that even possible? Like, it seems like you have so much time, like more time than the average person or something.
Time. I mean, I thought the biggest thing out of like the past few years of like doing everything is just like you realize how valuable time is. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the most expensive way to pay for something. It's something you can't create, something that doesn't come back. So it's like, how do I spend my time in the right buckets, and like, going back to like me being emotionally connected to everything, like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for me to say no to things, or hard for me to, oh, you know what, I shouldn't be doing this anymore, or like, hey, I don't, what, this, I can't do this. It's hard. It's so hard, and I get like super beat up about it. And so yeah, just trying to figure that out and navigate that, but it's a lot better, especially with Emery and Megan and the family. Now it's like, okay, how do I, their priority, right, how do I do everything else around that? So it's been good. I mean, learning, lots of learning and growing, and um learning, I think that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Adapting and
Mm-hmm.
being vulnerable and being able to talk to people about it. What about you?
um
What's one thing some a lot of people don't know about you?
yeah, I think, I mean, it's similar to you too. I think a lot of, I think especially more recently, I've just like gotten a lot of attention with like work stuff, like awards and just like recognition and stuff. And I think on social media, like you said, it just looks all like so effortless and like, oh, it's just so easy to do all that, or she's just special in a certain way. But I think I've like lived a lot of life up until this
Mm-hmm.
point. Um, I don't look 40, but I've had like some, but over the last 40 years, like I've had like some seasons where it was really, really rough.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it was like, I did it to myself. Like I made a lot of bad choices before. I've like hurt a lot of people. I've like done things that I'm not proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think one day I will talk probably more about it, but I'm just like, now that I'm a mom, I'm just like more aware of like how things that I talk about might affect them. And no matter like how long it's been or whatever, like those things just like just stay with you. And sometimes I like let it take over my thinking, where I'm like the imposter syndrome thing, or like not feeling worthy enough for certain things. So yeah, I think a lot of people just might see me now as like somebody who's like very accomplished in like the areas that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
but wasn't always good. Like there's
Yeah.
been a lot of things that I've like had to learn and like had to like learn the hard way from.
Uh-huh.
So, and I think a lot of people's journey is like that. Like I don't think I'm special in the fact that like we've had like hard things to overcome. I think everybody has hard things to overcome, whether it's like because of your own choices or choices that were made for you. But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's
everybody's
that's
journey is like not linear,
yeah,
there's
for
definitely ups
sure.
and downs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's and yeah, just being able to hear it from different people, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge nowadays with like social media and everything, but you just got to remember, like that's not all of it. It's not the full
hmm
story. And hmm
I was talking to somebody recently about regret. And this person, I know they're like going through a hard time, but they were like, oh, I don't regret anything though. Like, everything's like a learning lesson. And I was really like thinking about that, because I was like, I definitely regret stuff that I've done. Like, yes, there's always something good that can come out of it, but if I could go back and undo it, I would definitely do it. And I think that's what regret is, like,
yeah, yeah, 100%. I think that's an
So,
interesting take on that. Yeah, like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
Definitely, I mean, like, so something I've been thinking about like for this year has been like, or saying a lot too, is like, hey, there's only winning or learning. Either
Mhm.
you win or you learn. And
Mhm.
it's like kind of coming off that, right? It's like, do you regret doing that thing, or did you learn from it? So I don't know, it's like kind of like perspective, right? So I would say, yeah, I regret a lot of things.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
could go
Yeah.
back and change things, like
Yeah.
I'm definitely not happy, but I learned from it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely regret it.
Yeah.
I mean, the no regrets mindset. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, some things I don't regret, but there are some things that I'm like, ah, okay, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Or,
Yeah.
if I could go back and change it, I would. But who knows? Again, it's like, you can't, it's like good or bad. Like, if
Yeah.
I changed that thing, would I be here today? Or if I did that, if I didn't do that, would this be happening right now? I don't know. So
Yeah.
it's like life is crazy. And
Yeah.
so, like, there's so many levels to it. And it's like, you can't control anything. You just got to live life and learn. There's only winning or learning.
I like that mindset too, but I think when it comes to regret, I'm like all the things that has happened to me, like
Yeah.
I don't regret any of that. Like I'm happy that even if it was hard, like I found like a way to overcome or whatever, and that made me
Yeah.
stronger. But it's like the things that I've like done to other people that I'm
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
that I regret. Like
Uh-huh.
nobody needed to have like bad things happen to them because of
Damn,
me, you
Kobe,
know?
what are you doing to people? I'm just kidding.
I mean, even if it
Nah, nah.
was like not so bad, but like,
Things that you
you
can
know,
control, right? Yeah.
things that I could control. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
regret stuff that I've like said in anger, even like to my kids, you know, I'm like,
Oh
shit, I
yeah, for
hope that's not
sure.
like scarring them for, like
Mm-hmm.
something that they're going to
Yeah.
think about when they think about their childhood. I'm like, definitely regret stuff.
Yeah,
And
I think just in the past, this recent generation for sure, it's more about being open about like talking about like childhood traumas or like mental health and all that stuff. So now it's like
mhm,
opening up all these things, and then it's like it wasn't apparent, or it wasn't like a thing to talk about like last decade or even the decade before. But it's like now moving forward, it's like, okay, now raising Emery or like Haley and Casey, it's like our kids, like, what are they gonna talk about when they're older? Like
yeah,
their childhood traumas. No, that's crazy to think about,
then there's going
because
to be
we're
no
only
trauma
we're
in the world.
only we're only trying to figure out our childhood traumas now, and how do we not pass that on.
Yeah, that's something interesting to think about, right? They're gonna be like, "Oh, I was too spoiled, and my mom never taught me grit. They never gave me challenges.
I actually lived a good life.
We've achieved perfection."
No, but yeah, it's just gonna be crazy. I mean, like, okay, so r- last thing before we get off, since it's trending right now, I
Mhm.
kind of told you I wanted to buy the Apple Vision Pros.
Oh yeah, and I was like, "What the heck is that? I've never heard of
Yeah, I
that
was like,
before."
Kobe, what the heck? You never heard of it? Like, it's
No.
blowing up right now. Like, it's Apple's latest product where like it's like VR goggles, but like you can like see all your screens. It's basically a computer on your face. Like, it's not like the traditional VR goggles. It's
Okay.
a it's like a Apple products, right? Like, they're like, look it up after, you're gonna want one too. It's like $3,500. It's like
Okay.
this super legit setup where like people are edit, like I've been seeing like people edit on it, like they're
Wow.
watching like multiple screens, and like, so then I've been kind of looking into it more, and it's like that's like information overload, right? Like, I'm already ADHD as is. Imagine like having this headset on where you can be watching football here, I'm editing here, and like like you can turn it on where you can like see through, so you can see your kids playing, or you can see the real world, and it's just gonna be like, how are our brains gonna
Adapt to that.
process
That's
that or even
so
adapt to that?
Yeah, that seems a little too Mission Impossible. Like,
It's kind of crazy. Look it up. Like, it's
yeah.
I mean, like, the only person that I know that has it like personally is like Doc. Um
Oh,
and like he like shows it off all the time, but I see other videos of people like using it, and I'm like, that's crazy to imagine one day these, because I mean, like, it's crazy to think about, but like now with an iPhone, right? Like,
mhm.
20, 30 years ago, people would have never been like, oh, everyone's gonna carry an iPhone,
Yeah,
and now everybody
yeah,
has one. And then it's like, okay,
yeah,
starting today, like, oh, no way everyone's going to be wearing like these VR goggles.
yeah.
20 years
And
from
that's
now,
gonna
everybody's going to
be
be wearing one, doing their work,
can
like,
we
oh, it's
not go
crazy.
there? I don't even
uh
like, to me, that's like, that's too much. Like, how about just have a computer and a TV over there and just see it in real life versus in your goggles? Like,
I don't
that's a
know. I don't
little,
know. I kind of wanted to get it just to try it, but like, I'm scared like of how that's going to affect my brain.
well, I don't know where I heard this. I'm sure like everybody talks about it, but it's like that's just like one step closer to not even having a device. Like it's like a chip in your brain. It's just like you're gonna think it and you're gonna be thinking about editing it and like watching the
And you
TV
just
or
see it. Yeah, yeah,
you'll just
yeah.
see it. It's just gonna be implanted in your brain. Like you won't even need a device. It's just gonna be a part of you.
You just think, yeah, yeah,
And
crazy.
that's
That's
when we
crazy. Yeah,
become
yeah.
an alien.
And yep, that's crazy. That's the next generation. That's childhood trauma.
No, but that's
Remember
Emery's
when we didn't have the
generation.
chip in our head? Ugh.
Yeah.
Remember when I had
How
to
did
pull out our
people
phone? Yeah.
how did people communicate in the world without the chip in their head? So weird.
No, that's crazy.
That's
I'm
gonna be
like
Emery's generation.
100 years from now, people are gonna like find this podcast and be like, "Whoa, they talked about it, and it's happening."
Yeah.
Not even 100 years. I would say like 50 years.
The way that things are moving, it's like everything goes a little faster, right? So
It's
like
kind of
30
scary.
years
That's kind of
ago, no
scary.
phone, and now it's gonna be like 2 years from now, everybody's gonna have the goggles. And then 1 year from that, everybody's gonna have the chip.
Yeah, our next podcast, we're gonna be wearing the goggles.
I
Just kidding.
don't like
Yeah,
where this is going.
it's already bad when you're somewhere and you're like people are like looking at their phone like this.
Hmm.
But imagine now where like they're just gonna be sitting there with goggles.
Yeah, and he's like, no, no, I can see you. I'm totally here in this conversation with you,
Yeah, but I'm also like editing
but
right
also
here.
watching TV and editing at the same
Yeah, I'm at this basketball game, but I'm also watching like my cartoons over here.
and watching my kid at home.
Yeah, this is gonna be
Yeah,
the
there's no babysitter. I'm actually watching them.
yeah,
Yeah, from the
this is
game.
gonna be the cover photo for our Apple Vision Pro
Hmm.
reel.
I won't have to do my lashes anymore.
Crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
I
world
don't
that
know.
we're
Just
living
look at it,
in.
and this is just the beginning. It's $3,500 though,
Mm.
so maybe someone
Okay,
will
you
gift
go
that to
do
me.
it.
Just
Oh
kidding.
yeah, Apple, would you please
Do
like
we have
sponsor Uncut?
do we have uncut budget? It'll really help.
Hey, Apple, we can be the first podcast to try this out. We can record everything with the goggles on, and we'll be posting it through our goggles in real time.
And meeting with guests and everything. But I'll also be watching my show.
uh,
But
I
yeah, that's
really don't
crazy.
like that.
Yeah, I say this every time. I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah,
Consistency, right? Creating content. I'm actually like, I was telling Kobe like I'm filming like a daily vlog, and I don't know how
I
people
know.
do it.
I can't wait to see it.
Setting up a
We're all
tripod,
interested
running
in.
back to get it, and it's like, yeah. I'm gonna keep all those moments in. Actually, I don't know.
Bretman does it,
Yeah.
and we can't get enough of it.
Bretman,
So,
Bretman is a different breed. I was like trolling his comments one day, and I read, and I was like, there was one girl that was like, I love how authentic you are, because it's like there's all these influencers out there in the world right now trying to promote products or like like be like all cool on social media, but here we have Bretman Rock like literally trying to just like, or like he was talking about his toenail that he framed up as art, like this guy is literally like just living his life and doing his thing.
yeah, we love you, Bretman. I was super side note, but I was like, man, could we be influencers? Like honestly, I met these two influencers that I was part of this shoot. They flew them down from the mainland, and one influencer, she had like 300,000 followers, and this other one had like 150 or whatever, and they literally just get flown around the world to create content. They stay at these fabulous places and like eat all this fabulous food and get to wear all this pretty clothes, and they just create content. Like, I don't know, could you actually do that?
I don't know. See, so okay, so maybe 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
but
now with
now with a
Emery,
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
because
like,
there are families,
yeah.
influencer
So
families
so
that do that.
Megan and I were kind of talking about that too. Like side note, just like because then Megan did like a day in her life, and like she got like a bunch of messages saying like, "Oh my god, that was so inspiring to watch." Like
Oh,
I was like,
really?
"What the heck?" I mean, like Megan doesn't even have that many followers or anything like that, but it's like so crazy how like that one thing affected like a couple people. And I was just like,
Yeah,
oh, maybe you
and
should continue to share your story. Maybe it's like not so much, just kind of like Megan has no agenda, right? Like she just wants to be a stay-at-home mom and love Emery
yeah.
and be the best mom ever. So it's like that's great. Like just record it and do your thing and see where it goes.
But you know what? Now, I mean, you and I are both in this industry with like commercials and clients and stuff, and they are spending a lot of money on sending influencers and not
Yeah,
and having them just shoot their own content, or sending
yeah,
somebody and have them shoot it
yeah.
on a phone.
Yeah,
Like
so that's like a
it's a
big thing and
different.
going in on in our industry right now, especially we're I wouldn't say losing clients, but like people are definitely scaling back because it's like, oh, we were just gonna hire this influencer to create the content that we would have paid you a lot more to film.
Yep, it's a
Or
different
like
kind of
it's
content
different.
that they're wanting now.
Yeah.
And it's like they
How do
still have
we
the
adapt?
budget. Yeah, how do we adapt? And so I was wondering that because it just seems like a lonely job. because they're not doing it with their families or their husbands or anything. It's just them. They're
Yep.
content creators.
Yep.
But then they go and like they fly and they are staying in their hotel room by themselves. And it's just weird. Even like we they made us all this food and it looked so so good. And they're like,
No
"Oh
one
no,
ate
you
it.
don't actually eat it. You just like
Yeah, yeah,
pretend
yeah.
to eat it." And I'm like, "Wait, you're not eating this?" And they're like, "Oh no, like we already ate lunch." I'm like, "What?"
See,
Like
that's
you just
crazy. Yeah.
pretend to eat it or
It's the
pretend
it's
to drink
again
it. I'm
the
like,
other side of the
"What?"
story.
And it's a different kind of connecting with people. It's like it's all kind of not based in reality. They're like, okay, like we're laughing, but we're not really laughing. We're just like fake laughing for the photo. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. Laugh now and
weird.
then just like, okay,
Okay.
everyone on your phone. Put your goggles back on. All right.
So we're announcing that we're influencers and we're ready for hire. No.
Yeah, hire us, please. Sponsor us. Send us stuff.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Kobe.
have a great week. Have a fun
I
Super
know. Happy
Bowl.
February.
Happy
Crazy.
February, everybody. And then
Continue to reach out, comment, subscribe, like, DM us. I think like we really love hearing from you guys and like answering some questions and figuring out what you guys want to talk about. So yeah, thank
yeah.
you guys for tuning in.
All right,
Happy
guys.
Monday.
Bye.